Putin has made his darkest and most specific threats yet about using nuclear weapons against the West.
They must ultimately understand that we also have weapons, and they know about it. Just as I said, we also have weapons that can hit targets on their territory. All of this really threatens conflict with the use of nuclear weapons, and therefore the destruction of civilization. Don't they understand this?
Out front now, the retired Lieutenant General Ben Hodges, the former commanding general of the U.S. Army Europe. And General, it is wonderful to be with you in person. I know, obviously, usually you are joining us from Germany. So Putin has threatened to use nukes more openly than he ever has in his speech that he just gave, warning of the destruction of civilization. Those were his exact words. How serious is this to you?
Well, of course you have to take him serious because he doesn't care about how many innocent people might be killed. But I think this is a continuation of his style of using threats, bluster, because he sees how we overreact every time. There's no upside for Russia if they use a nuclear weapon, zero. Our president has told them that there will be catastrophic consequences for Russia if they use a nuclear weapon. So really, for the Kremlin, their nuclear weapons are most effective when they don't actually use them because we deter ourselves, we overreact.
So the Financial Times, Max Seddon had this great report earlier this week. He had obtained intelligence documents showing the Russian threshold for using nuclear weapons, and it was much lower than anybody thought. In fact, making the Navy more effective was actually a justification for using a nuclear weapon of some sort. Stopping aggression was a definition, which of course could be defined any way one wants to define it. Are you surprised that the threshold, at least in their written documents of what they say, is that low?
Well, that is lower than what I had always believed, but you have to be skeptical whenever you have a Russian document. What's the purpose of this document? How did we get this? And again, I think this is part of an effort by the Kremlin to make us be wary, and it works.
To halt Ukraine aid more.
Yeah, it works because even the administration, which has done so much, and the German government, the top two contributors are not willing to say, we want Ukraine to win. Our objective is for Ukraine to defeat Russia. And I think this is tied to their concern.
So Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says there's nearly $300 billion, $285 billion in frozen Russian assets. She's saying that should be sent to Ukraine. And obviously, you've got the congressional money on hold. Obviously, $285 billion in frozen Russian assets is a massive amount of money. But how much of a difference would something like that make, even if you had a small portion of it?
Well, do quick math here. That's about 4 or 5 times the size of the aid package right now that we're all waiting to get through. So that would be an enormous boost for Ukraine. Both for purchasing what they need to win this war, but also even for reconstruction. But it also would be useful because it would send such a strong signal to the Russians that there are consequences for what they do. And right now, a lot of the people around Putin have not really felt the consequences for supporting him.
And so you think that'd be a good idea?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, General, it's great to see you, and thank you.
Thanks for the privilege.